Hi, welcome to the Bringle Talks, India's biggest skills development ecosystem. Today I am welcoming Mrs. Jasmine Sahane, the reputed trainer on personal branding. If you are having any queries on personal branding, please post it on YouTube chat. Our expert will help you. Hi Jasmine, welcome.
Hi, good evening. Thank you so much for having me here.
Good evening, Jasmine. Jasmine, what is a personal brand in terms of an organization and how it will affect on organizational growth?
So personal branding. Hi, everyone. Good evening. This is Jasmine this side. Thank you so much for your question. Personal brand is actually the first question that comes to our mind when we listen about personal branding is that we think in terms of celebrities, perhaps uh, the Bollywood or the politics or any Instagram celebrity. But every organization and every individual and organization, they carry a personal brand in itself, whether they do anything about it or not. And you must be knowing the rise and rise of Flipkart.com. So each and every part of Flipkart, whether on social media, online, offline, they rose to that level because of very strategic personal branding and employer branding of the organization. So in today's context, you cannot miss on the point that either you do it or you do not do it. You are always carrying a personal brand. Thank you.
And what are the steps involved in personal branding?
Now, that's a beautiful question. Now, personal branding is a very slow and gradual process. Uh, you must be knowing about the marketing guru by the name of Neil Patel. He's the SEO king, actually. It took him nearly a decade actually to come up to that level of the personal branding. Now, the steps are first of all, you have to know the complete game plan is about knowing what you want in your career. Personal branding is not limited to entrepreneur or professional or students or housewives on a career break. The first step is actually understanding that what is it that you are offering, who is your target population, making a brand statement of yours. The second step will be, of course, knowing your audience very well. For example, I'm a trainer, I'm a corporate trainer, and I conduct regular workshop. And my target population ranges from housewives to mentoring the school student and the corporate employee. I know very well about my target audience and I keep on posting content about them. That is of value to them. The third is important thing is that how I brand myself. For example, how I post the type of content that I have, and what is the kind of visuals that I give, what is the kind of value that I give. This all become a part of the personal branding. Second thing, the last thing is the seamless execution with persistence. Once you have figured out what your personal statement is, you have got to know what your audience look like. And third is you have got your share of content that what you should be sharing that should be in line with your strategy. Then you have to consistently you have to give in the content. So these are actually the four basic foundation step of a good personal branding. Thanks.
Jasmine, how can you start a set a personal brand?
Sorry, please come again.
How can a startup set a personal brand?
So setting up setting up a personal brand is actually, it's not something that anyone can find on internet. Though of course there are many methods and models that is available, you can take use of that. In my workshops, or for example in the webinar, I promote that you have to shut off yourself for some time. You should know that what is your key skill primarily, like what is it that you are good at, point number one. And then you have to figure out where you want to reach. For example, as an entrepreneur, you want to make your reach, you want to appear attractive to the investors or to the stakeholders. Then you have to see that you are not just posting a random quotation, you are giving the content that is valuable to them. You should start by knowing your audience and by knowing yourself. Yes.
Uh, can you brief about the personal branding, Jasmine?
Sorry, please be a bit
Can you
louder.
give a brief description about the personal branding?
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Can you please be a bit louder?
Can you give me a brief description about the personal branding?
Absolutely. So, personal branding is the way that people perceive you. Now, whether you are a school student or whether you are a freelancer, you are a C suite level executive, whomsoever you are, you're always carrying a kind of aura or an impression of yours. That aura or the impression is reflected clearly in the kind of visuals, the kind of content that you put in and where you are putting in. For example, I've seen people putting in the personal kind of content onto LinkedIn, posting about their kids and all. That is okay if that resonates with your audience. You have to start off by understanding that personal branding is something how you think that Jasmine is going to add value to your life. For example, if I am over here at Bringle platform, there are users who have logged in. So they have logged in because of understanding or the expectation that we will be earning something. That is the branding of Bringle. Now, what is the kind of value that I'm bringing in? That is my branding over here. Thank you.
Okay. And what are the exercises that are involved in setting game plan for personal branding?
All right. So, the basic thing, the first important thing is that you have to, anybody who is doing something about his personal branding or not doing anything, you are always having an impression. If I say I do not want to be on LinkedIn and I do not want to post anything, or maybe I just want to engage in kind of discussions, the branding of Jasmine Sahani will be accordingly to that. But for example, if I'm a very determined person, I'm a goal oriented person, and I think, no, I want my brand to look like that. I want myself to be somebody who is who's having an expertise and who can help me mentor in creating my own brand statement. Now, the first step is that you have to understand what is your personal brand statement. For example, somebody might have, I want to be the best marketing agency or the best marketing agent in Asia. Or, for example, somebody might say that I would be like to be the best trainer for personal branding in India or JPAC, whatever. The second thing is that you have to understand that what is your audience? What is that you're going to derive out of it? Who is your audience? Your audience is like CAs particularly, or your audience is from particular ethnicity, maybe India or Singapore or European or the Americas, whatever. You have to understand the expectation and the emotion of your audience. For a student sitting in the campus placement, for example, his audience would be uh, those companies who are coming into the campus. He should understand from their point of view that what is it that they are looking forward to. Now, second step is you have to get the maximum data. That's next step is that you have to get the maximum data about your audience. If you're an entrepreneur who's interested in getting the eyeballs of the investor that you have to talk about, then you should be branding about your business. You should be writing blogs about what you have done so far. You should be writing about the ROI, or maybe you can give a glimpse of the valuation that you have increased. There is no shame and there is no harm in that. Now, the next step is you have to continuously create the content. I would suggest video vlogging, or we can say blogging or video blogging, vlogging is something very in thing right now. The people can directly watch you, understand you, can connect with you. Like right now, we are on this platform. You can see me talking, and I'm sitting in a very informal kind of setup. So you are pretty comfortable in your own setup, and we can understand and talk. The second thing is that you can even go for a podcast. For again, for a business person, for a businessman, for an entrepreneur, that's a beautiful thing. You can create a podcast and you can just flash it, let your viewers know about your skill. Now, you should also be participating into the offline things. I'm not saying just putting your content online is going to make all the magic. No, you have to go offline also. So, slowly and steadily, you have to work out. And in my workshop, I give a detailed metrics also. Top three skills that you want to be known for. How do we go about it? The target, and there are infinite number of factors. So these are some of the steps that I would like to highlight. Thanks.
And what are the foundations of personal branding team?
That's a very, very nice question, actually. The foundation of branding of any person is the person himself. Foundation means what are his values, his goals, uh, his idea of his own personal branding. For me, it's like to be known and accredited as a personal branding and employer branding mentor across the world. I have got my niche that I want to be known across the world for personal branding. So this is actually the foundation of the personal branding. The person, his values and his goal himself.
Okay. And how personal branding is relevant for home managers, women on career break, or students?
Relevant for
Home managers, women on career
oh,
break, or students?
personal branding is for everybody. So when we talk about home managers, the women on career break, or freelancers or student, all of them, either knowingly or unknowingly, they are carrying a brand about themselves. For example, I have seen many amazing YouTube channel. They are primarily broadcasted by the housewives only, who are amazing at cooking, and they showcase things in a very nice and petite way. For students, personal branding is very important because you have to stand out. Ultimately, getting onto a campus or developing your skill is very, very critical for a student. So you have to stand out actually. You should be in a class of 40, 50, 200 students. You should be standing out, whether you want to face the interview committee at the campus or you don't. For the freelancers, it's amazingly important for them to stand out in the form of blogging or Instagram videos. Why? Because there are nth number of people who are offering the same services that they are. So what makes them unique? What they makes them tick? That is the crux of their personal branding. So I think whether we like it or not, whether I'm in the mainstream business, I'm an entrepreneur or a working professional, whatever I can be a student also. Personal branding in today's world is an imperative for me. Thanks.
If someone is not clear that what they should do for personal branding and how to do and when to do, and what advice that you want to give?
It happens with all of us actually. So when I started reading or getting attached to the word of personal branding, uh, for me, it appeared that it was primarily for the celebrities. But knowingly or unknowingly, all of us are actually making a brand out of ourselves. For example, the way I am talking to you right now, my pitch, my tone, that is actually casting an impression of mine on your head and mind. Similarly, for office goers, whether you know it or you do not know it, you put in a lot of work, you put in a lot of passion, but still not able to back that promotion. Why? Then we say that somebody who's good at buttering or maybe whatever, he has bagged the promotion. It's not that case all the way. It's actually how you are putting out yourself, how you are showcasing your performance. So in case you don't know anything about personal branding, you do a SWOT analysis of yours. Leave the SWOT analysis. You just write down, you just give me top three things that you are good at. Just write down. I think that much of work even an eighth or sixth class of student can do. Just give me three things that you are good at. And then start talking about it. Let people know about it. For example, a eighth class student, I was mentoring a convent school students over here, and I got to know that a seventh class girl was super good in algebra. She was so good that she could even help out students of ninth class. That was her passion into algebra. And she was so simple. She say, I'm not good in English, but I'm good in algebra. And she became very famous. Rather, she was going to inter-school competition and representing her school. So you see, guys, personal branding is not a very tough thing. Do not go by the jargons on the internet. It's a simple thing. It is inside you.
Who needs to have a personal branding if they are not doing anything or not present anywhere online?
That's a very ironical question, actually. Everybody needs a personal branding, whether it's in your professional sphere or a personal sphere. So you might come back to me and say that I am not a working person, I'm not an entrepreneur, not a freelancer, I'm just a housewife. As a housewife, also, you have certain responsibilities in various relations of your life, perhaps towards your in laws or your neighbors or towards your child or towards your community, I'm sure. Therein, you have to know that what is it that you are good at. For example, if it's a matter of community and you are good in talking, networking, and spreading the word, you should actually highlight and let the people of your community or neighborhood benefit from this skill of yours. So, whether you say that I do not need a personal branding, I'm not a working professional, or or you can say that I'm a student, I'm so young to have a personal brand. Whether you do it or you do not do it, you're always making an impression of yours, you're always making a brand of yours. So my advice to you, all of you who are listening to this particular recording, the session is, please deliberately make sure what kind of content you're walking, you're dressing, you are putting out in the world. Yeah.
Jasmine, one more question. Uh, if you have already have developed a brand,
Mhm.
which is probably not very positive, how do you superimpose and try to change that image of yours? Is that a possibility? And if yes, then
Mhm.
what would be the right way to do it?
Hmm. All right, all right. That's a beautiful question. Now, I myself have practiced this actually. So, couple of years, maybe longer than that, I was primarily very lame on letting anything known to my social network, to my personal network at work. And I was knowingly or unknowingly, I was just forecasting an image of yet another human resource professional who can do all the generalist activities. But lately, I realized that I am not known for my unique thing. I would like to mentor people to train in my communication. So, slowly and gradually, I never left my core over here. If you see and visit my profile or my content anywhere on internet, you will see I've not left my core. I'm still a human resource professional, but I have kind of just imbibed it with the trainer and the mentor possibility. I have slowly rebranded myself. And how I have rebranded myself? Simple. I am just giving the valuable content to my uh, the target audience. How the rebranding happened? First of all, first step, I did my SWOT, that I am more than yet another human resource professional. I mention my top three skills. Second step, I identify my target population. Earlier, my target population were only the corporates, but now they are students, they are retired people, they are school student, engineering students, and freelancers who can benefit from my work and increasing their sales or reach. And then I started putting out content that is of use to them, that is of practical tips to them, and not giving any gyan that how they can work out on their own brand. So this is how I have rebranded myself. It is a gradual process, but the results are bound to come in the form of numbers. Thank you.
Jasmine,
Yes.
we got one query from YouTube chat.
Okay.
She is asking that for personal branding, the person needs to be very active on social media. If one is not, can one go ahead?
That's a beautiful question, ma'am. Thank you so much for dropping in that question. Now, I have a question that how do you wish to reach those many people out of your circle? Social media is the answer. I'm not saying it is done only on the social media. No. Personal branding is a mix of online and offline structures and effort of yours. But social media is very part of us because it will expose you to somebody sitting in America who could be a potential customer. It has exposed me to people sitting in Australia and Canada. So it's okay. If you want to keep yourself offline, it's amazing. But online is preferable. Why? Because of the reach, the larger target population, and the ease with which you can share your content. Right now, on online media, you can post a video, you can let people know about any simple tip. So I believe online media is an important thing. Looking at the population of the people it is serving, you cannot stray away from it. It is a very, very important part of your strategy. I hope that was I was able to answer your question.
One last query, Jasmine.
Sure.
Um, would you like to say something to our audience?
Oh yes. First of all, thank you so much for listening into it. Now, I want to tell something to all of you that whether you do it deliberately or you are not doing anything deliberately, you are making an image of yours. You are portraying a brand of yours. If you're not doing anything on LinkedIn, if you're not doing anything on your community, if you're not doing anything for your neighborhood or for the people or your colleague or classmate, you are casting or you are making an impression of yours. And in today's world of so much of opportunity, you cannot be left behind. So instead of leaving your so much of important thing that is your personal brand in the hands of fate, take control, list out your skill, list down your goal, and bang on deliberately. You are bound to get the result. My best wishes with the audience. Thank you.